Technology makes our lives easier, more efficient, and streamlined. Your games are on computer, your classes are on computer, and you even pay your bills with your iPhone and date online. And Lord knows I really need a date. But there's more to technology than just computer games, email, and dating. What would you do if the world was suddenly taken over by computers? Or the internet was captured and held hostage? With all the new and amazing technology out there, it could actually happen. Hi, I'm Patrick, and I'm the Tech Guru, where I discuss amazing, crazy, and even scary technology. Have you ever wanted to be invisible? I know I have. Just imagine the possibilities. Hey, wait, I know what you're thinking.
If I was invisible, I would walk in the White House.
Watch to see what happens.
Break into Area 51.
Follow my kids around.
I would stay home from work.
Spy on people. Travel the world. Fly. Yeah.
The idea of invisibility has been around for a really long time. The 1933 movie The Invisible Man had an invisible leading actor. Predator in 1987 starred an alien that wore a device on his arm that allowed him to cloak himself and hunt down his prey. And more recently, my personal favorite, Harry Potter donned an invisibility cloak that he received from his father to unravel the mysteries behind Hogwarts without being detected by the three-headed Cerberus.
Some kind of cloak? Well, let's see then. Put it on. Whoa! My body's gone! I know what that is. That's an invisibility cloak.
Now I know, this sounds incredible and all, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. While cloaking technology is not that advanced yet, I think you'll be amazed at what can already be done with today's modern tech and what we can possibly do in the future. Minus the three-headed Cerberus, of course. On today's show, we are featuring several technology advances that are bringing us closer to the reality of invisibility. The first technology we are examining was developed at the University of Rochester by Professor Howe and graduate student Joseph Choi. They use four ordinary lenses that can be purchased off the shelf by anyone to keep objects out of sight. This may not seem like a big deal because using lenses to bend light has been done before, but what is unique about Howe and Choi's system of cloaking is its ability to render objects invisible from different angles.
There have been many high-tech approaches to try and achieve cloaking, and the basic idea behind these high-tech or exotic materials is to take light and have it pass around something as if it isn't there. And so we just figured a very simple way of doing that can just be using standard lenses and things that we would normally find in the lab.
There's been functioning invisibility cloaks that keep objects hidden from radar, sound, and even touch. But this is one of the first that actually works optically. To make objects invisible using this technology, the focal lengths of each lens must be considered as well as the exact point the light rays converge. The purpose of the lenses is to take light and make it travel around an object. Howe and Choi have done this by using standard lenses. It works with small angles. This multi-directional cloaking allows the object being cloaked to remain hidden even if the viewer is moving.
What we've tried to develop is a simplified version of a perfect cloaking device for small angles, and what we've done is we've simplified it to a 4-lens system, and as you can see, all we've used are off-the-shelf optics that we can get from any of the optical stores. And the great thing about this is it can be scalable to any size that you can make the lenses. But the most important thing that we've done so far is this is the first device that we know of that can do 3-dimensional, continuous, multi-directional cloaking. So if you have rays that go at different angles, you can have the cloaking device still cloak it while what you see in the background is shifted accordingly without any distortion or changes. Say we place an object, in our case a ruler, in the middle. If we didn't have the lenses, we would be able to see the ruler. But what the lenses do is the lenses actually cloak the ruler. So if you were standing right here and you look straight through, what would happen is the rays would focus and then diverge out. So it actually bends the light around the ruler so that you won't be able to see the ruler if you looked at it straight down. So we have slightly more complicated designs where an object can be cloaked entirely, but we've tried to simplify our design, and what we have is where the light goes through the center of the design, so that cannot be blocked. So the cloaking region is actually a ring-shaped area on the outside rather than the center.
This technology is not exactly how I envision cloaking, although I can see some practical uses, such as allowing drivers to see around blind spots, making driving a little bit safer. Next is adaptive camouflage, also called active camouflage. Adaptive camouflage, as the name implies, adapts quickly to its surroundings. It's kind of like the scene in Mission Impossible 4 where lead actor Tom Cruise sneaks into the French embassy to prevent a nuke from detonating. The idea is to create an exact replica of the environment for an object to blend into. And I know what you're saying. Camouflage has been used by the military and hunters for 1,000 years. But notice I said adapts quickly. This is currently being done in a couple of different ways. The first way is making the object mimic its actual background. In other words, the object hidden looks like something that would appear in the environment. Many animals already employ this technique in nature, such as a chameleon or the reef stonefish. These animals camouflage themselves to hide from predators or to even capture prey. The second is by having the object mimic the actual background. Octopi are great examples and have been the inspiration for the military for new camouflage technology.
Researchers from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign have designed a camouflage sheet material that can change color to match its surroundings. The material's color-changing dye is based on the camouflage technique used by animals like octopi, cuttlefish, squid, and other cephalopods. Although the animals can change to many different colors, the material designed by scientists can only go from black to white or transparent. The top layer of the material uses temperature-sensitive dye that turns black at low temperatures and becomes clear when it reaches 116 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. The middle layer of the sheet is made up of silicone circuits that control the temperature, and the bottom is a transparent silicone rubber foundation that detects the change in light and color of the surroundings using a photosensor grid. Measuring in at about 200 microns, or about the thickness of 2 human hairs, the material is an example of the potential use of color-changing technology. Researchers have already been contacted for its possible use as color-changing fabric for clothes. Using it for color-changing wallpaper or interior surfaces has also been brought up by the School of Agriculture at the University of Illinois.
It's pretty cool that scientists have come up with a way for a material to adapt to light based on an octopus. The University of Michigan is working on a similar technology, but their research is based on a chameleon instead. With their technology, a thin layer of material contains crystals that change color and shape as a response to light.
Watch as the particles change both color and shape when the light is flicked on. Although it has a chameleon-like color-changing camouflage, the particles are assembled differently. First, there's a semiconducting metallic sheet of indium tin oxide, which is more commonly used in displays and screens. On top of that, there's a solution that's full of custom crystals developed by Michigan researchers. The leader of the study says, "We can shine the light in a certain region, and the particles create a crystalline region where they all come together and create this crystal structure." But why? Well, that has to do with how the material's 2 ingredients interact. When the light shines in the top layer, it generates an electrical charge on the metallic sheet. This causes the positively charged particles to move toward the light and the negative ones the other way. A co-author of the study told Popular Science, "Before, this was impossible to do without having some sort of template or pattern on the underlying material." The researchers say the camouflage technique could be used to make better displays or maybe even fabrics that change color, aka active camouflage.
As you can see, adaptive cloaking is pretty cool, but it's not exactly what I envisioned when the word invisibility came to mind. But don't worry, there is still hope. With this third and final cloaking technology that uses metamaterials, I think we may find a true invisibility cloak. Metamaterials are artificial materials that are not normally found in nature. They are made with plastic and metal and have interesting effects when combined with light. Metamaterials have been responsible for lots of cool advances in science and technology. For instance, the University of Darmstadt in Germany actually stopped light. Yeah, you heard me right. They actually stopped light. Scientists managed to trap photons from a laser beam inside of a special crystal. Light normally travels at more than 670 million miles per hour. It can be stopped for up to 1 minute and stored inside the crystal. These same advances in material sciences has made cloaking using metamaterials possible.
Cloaking is an attempt to reduce the visibility of an object. So if we were trying to reduce the visibility to humans, then what we would try to do is to suppress all the light waves that get scattered or get bounced off the surface of an object.
Now just think about it. When you see an object, you are actually seeing the light reflected off that object. If you could control how the light is reflected, you can make objects appear invisible. Now before we get too carried away, we need to explain that there are two types of invisibility. Optical invisibility, like in Harry Potter or the Invisible Man, and then there's functional invisibility, the one the stealth bomber uses for radar evasion. Researchers at Duke University actually made a cylinder made of copper and fiberglass appear invisible back in 2006. Microwaves were actually bent around the cylinder and reassembled on the other side, making it invisible to the microwaves. Duke is now working on a new invisibility cloak that uses metamaterials found from gold and silver. The metamaterial can be placed on airplanes, tanks, or military installations to make them invisible from radars and other detection devices.
But how and why do we want to control these waves? In a microwave oven, the walls are made of metal in order to contain the wave inside. In optical communications, we place the light inside glass fibers in order to send it from one place to another. So with different materials, we can control these waves. There are naturally available materials like water, metal, wood, and so on. When a wave hits an object that is made of this material, it scatters. And that splashing of wave is how we can see that object. Can we make an object invisible? What if we design a man-made material that cloaks an object? In other words, it bends an incoming wave around it without being scattered, so we don't see the object. When the light passes through water, it bends in one direction. Can we make an artificial medium that bends the wave the other direction? These are examples of exciting possibilities that new class of materials known as metamaterials can provide us. In Greek, meta means beyond, and these structures have unusual, beyond the ordinary effects on waves. Ordinary materials are made of atoms and molecules. A cube of gold, for example, has its gold atoms arranged in a specific pattern. It is the gold atom and this pattern that gives gold its electromagnetic properties. In metamaterials, we go beyond this natural arrangement to a new level of organizations. We design our own collection of tiny structures using multiple materials. For example, an array of gold cubes in a block of glass. And like regular material, the electromagnetic properties of metamaterial depends on how we shape and arrange these structures. The difference is we can create new properties that are not found in nature. And that's what metamaterials are all about.
Now that's great and all, but what about a metamaterial cloak that can hide things from your vision? You know, your eyes? The function of the metamaterial is to manipulate reflected light rays before they strike the object. The light rays are electromagnetically diverted around the object by the metamaterial. The rays are then directed back to their original path. Now this is by far the closest concept to invisibility. It may not be here yet, but it will be, probably in your lifetime. Well, that's our show for today, folks. Be sure to catch me, Patrick, your tech guru, next week when I explore computer technologies that may soon replace the human brain.